The North Africa Project Director at the International Crisis Group. Good to have you on with us. Do you think these changes will be enough to pave the way for a national vote, which has been long delayed, or at least a step in that direction?
Unfortunately, I think we need to be very careful with this kind of announcements because this kind of announcement specifically arrives after several months of deadlock in the negotiations between the two Libyan rival parliaments, and seems to be really mostly a reaction to the recent announcement made by the UN envoy, who basically has presented a plan to try and bypass or break this deadlock with a different parallel initiative. So this announcement, this approval of this amendment really seems to be mostly a ploy or a way to tell the international community that something is being done, but it actually leaves unclear a series of key aspects, key details, including the definition of who could run in the future presidential elections, which remains a very controversial point between the two parliaments. So at the moment, it doesn't really look like we are getting any closer to elections in Libya.
What needs to happen then to end the stalemate in the country? And do you think that's even possible given the political climate at the moment?
Of course, the current international and local political climate doesn't make the resolution of the current stalemate easy or even possible, I would say. But the reality is that if we look closer, there is still, I would say, room for negotiation and room for a compromise. The point here is that there needs to be more international coordination among the actors that are involved in the Libyan crisis. And the problem is that these actors, particularly the regional actors, don't seem to see eye to eye on what to do next and how to move forward. So here we are right now with the UN trying to break the deadlock with an initiative that doesn't seem to take into consideration what has been done so far on this other parallel track between the two rival parliaments. What needs to happen here is a new initiative to put pressure on the two rival parliaments track and to make sure that they progress really and concretely on this negotiation file without actually wasting time and without actually presenting initiatives that are actually ploys. So once we have that kind of international coordination and clear stance from the UN with a view to ending and to basically push forward this negotiation track, there is then a possibility that something could be done. But this, right now, in the current international and local conditions, I have to admit, seems relatively far-fetched.
Quickly, if you can, if elections were to theoretically go forward, do you think that Libyans would even accept the results, given all the skepticism in the country about the political leadership's motives?
So this is the problem right now, that nobody knows, first of all, who can run in elections, and secondly, do we know whether the losing faction would accept the results of the elections if somebody else that they don't accept win that kind of ballot? And what about the Libyan population? Do they think that this process is reliable, true, and fair? I think these are all questions that need to be addressed in a broader, I would say, manner than it has been done so far.
Okay. Riccardo Fabiani in Lisbon, thank you so much for your thoughts.